This video was not planned, but it's kind of a follow-up to my last video where I talked about how I almost signed my first major label deal and got screwed. I read some of your comments on that video and I realized that some of you guys were confused about my deal with UMG. So I think this video will be really helpful to just clear the air because I'm going to break down the terms of that deal and the decision that ultimately led me to selling my beat to Universal Music Group. So if you haven't watched my last video, now would be a good time so you can just get the full picture, all right? And also, let me clear the air by saying that I'm not making this video to slander or disparage anyone. The only purpose of this is to break down the business so that you guys can learn from it. And before I do that, be sure to like and subscribe. It's actually your lucky day because I have a free gift for you. If you're an artist or a producer, click the link in the description, fill out the form, and I'll email you your free gift. Really dope, but just a small token of my appreciation for you guys, the subscribers. Okay, so real quick, here's how it went down in my last video, right? I had a viral sound on TikTok called So Pretty with an unsigned artist named Rihanna Maria. She ended up signing a deal with Republic Records, which is under UMG, after going viral with that So Pretty sound. But this was before we actually had a chance to release the full song. And because of that, us dropping the song independently was no longer an option. It was off the table. And I ended up having to negotiate directly with UMG in order to release the song. Now, let me break down the terms of that deal. First of all, I'm not signed to anyone. That deal was strictly a producer agreement for me to sell my masters of the So Pretty beat to UMG. So let's start there. Anytime you're negotiating with a label, there's going to be some type of agreement in place. Now, Rihanna had already signed her artist deal. That was completely separate, had nothing to do with me. She was essentially signing to Republic, and in exchange, they probably gave her an advance. I don't know how much that advance was. My best guess is low to mid 5 figures. And they probably promised her some marketing support with future releases, right? That was her deal. Okay, cool. So she basically signed her deal completely off the strength of So Pretty because she had told me that she never made a song before in her life and she didn't have any songs on streaming services. Insane, but honestly, good for her. She finessed a major deal off of a 20-second TikTok video. So props to her. After she signed to Republic, they became the new rights holders to her portion of the song. But they had to get in touch with me to acquire my masters to the instrumental, the music. So there's the first lesson. There's 2 halves to a song, the lyrics and the music. Each of those halves have their own copyrights attached to it called the master and the composition, right? This is the foundation of every recorded song in history. The master is the final sound recording, the finished product. You can literally think of this as the MP3 or the wave after everything has been recorded and bounced, right? The composition is the actual individual parts of the music, the melody, the lyrics, the components of the song itself. So each half of the song, the lyrics and the beat, they both have those 2 copyrights attached to them. And the same goes for every other song. So when it came time to negotiating with Republic, they pretty much had like a standard rate for the advance, which is a lump sum of money that they give you upfront, payable against future earnings. whatever money and royalties that the song generates in the future, right? Now, by the way, I've heard people call an advance just a bad loan from a bank, but it's a little bit different, and let me explain how. When you default on a bank loan, they're coming after your assets. They're on your ass. With an advance, the label, if they don't recoup that, they just lose that money, right? They're not coming after your assets. They're not coming after you. They just take the L. So that is the main difference between a bank loan and an advance, okay? Just making that clarification. So in my case, the situation was a little bit different because we had one important factor on our side. And that's a little something that I like to call leverage. And our leverage was that the song was already blowing up on TikTok. It was already getting millions of views every single day. The fans were already asking for the song from us. And Republic needed my beat to put the song out. And they didn't have that yet. So that was our leverage. And it's a completely different picture when you have leverage because you can negotiate more terms in your favor. So instead of the few $1,000s that they wanted to offer me as an advance, me, my team, and my lawyer said, we want more, a lot more. Now, we had never really experienced this type of thing before, going viral and then having to go through a label to release the song. So honestly, we didn't really know what we should ask for. Initially, and this is going to sound insane, we wanted to ask for $1 million. Needless to say, that was kind of ambitious and highly unlikely that we were going to get it, but that's kind of how you negotiate. I start high, you go low, and we meet somewhere in the middle. But here's the other part that you have to consider in a deal like this. There are also the splits on the song. So whatever splits you have, you collect royalties from it in the future. So labels will also make you believe that there's an industry standard for producers where we should only get 1 to 3% of master royalties. And that's out of 100. So yes, it's really as small as it seems. But again, we had leverage. So we're also considering the splits and trying to get as big of a piece of that as possible. But we'd likely have to come down on the advance. It's like a sliding scale, right? The more you ask for up front, the less you get on the back end. So after going back and forth with the label for weeks trying to negotiate these terms, we realized that they weren't really going to move on the master points, the master splits, but they were willing to negotiate and come up on the advance money. So in the end, I got 3 points on the master and a $25,000 advance. But there was one last factor that we had to consider. Whose name was going to be on the song? Originally, me and Rihanna wanted to put the song out independently as co-main artists. Rihanna Maria and Kato on the track. I kind of had a known name as a producer, and we thought it was a win-win for everyone. But when she signed, that changed. Republic Records didn't want my name on the song anymore because I wasn't signed to them, and they're not going to promote me, some TikTok producer. They don't see any value in having my name on the song at all. No main artist, no feature, nothing. So I ended up going from a co-main artist to a little production credit on Spotify. Now, this one, I had to really bite the bullet because in the moment, I took it personal. It felt like they were trying to wrong me, and I felt insulted, right? After all, I had put up my own money to get this song recorded and mixed, and it was my beat, and the entire viral trend started from my beat video. Now, what I could have said to them was, you know what? Screw you guys. I'm not selling you the masters to my beat unless you do what I want. But if I did that, I risked the possibility of the song not coming out at all because we can't agree to the terms. And the clock was ticking. And more than anyone, me and Rihanna wanted the song to come out because it would have been such a missed opportunity if we let it come and go. All that for nothing, and then no one gets anything in the end, including the fans who were blowing us up every day asking for it. So it was in everyone's interest for the song to drop, and I didn't want my pride to be the thing that killed it for everyone. So we agreed to production credit only, 3 points on the master, $25,000 advance, and my 50% publishing. Now, we didn't really touch on the publishing, but that term just refers to the monetization of the composition, which we talked about earlier. The publishing is usually pretty cut and dry. Whoever touches the production or the lyrics gets their proportionate share of the pub. And that's usually just a mutual agreement between the artists and the producers, right? Hey, you made half the beat, you should get half of the publishing. Or this person wrote the chorus on the song, they should get their fair share of the pub. Pretty simple. But from a royalties perspective, the publishing isn't going to make as much as the master. That's just a fact. And unless your publishing catalog is filled with multiple #1 hits and billions of streams and sales, you're not going to make that much. I actually heard that owning the masters will get you paid 6-1 on the streaming side. And that is significantly more than the publishing. So that just gives you an idea. So yes, it's dope that I got my 50% pub, but honestly, that's what I should have been getting anyway. So that wasn't a negotiation with anyone. That was understood up front, and we just put it in paper, right? But that is definitely not anywhere near an amount of money that you could live off of if that was my only song. So anyway, I hope this video helped you guys understand some of the things that go into a situation like this and how to negotiate with labels. It's really important that you guys not only understand the business, but the nuances of specific situations, because everyone's will look different. You may already have a loyal, dedicated fan base, some big streaming numbers, and really profitable touring history independently before even stepping foot into a label. And those are all things that should be considered when you're negotiating your deal. And you might end up deciding that a label can't really do anything that you couldn't do yourself. Everyone's situation and needs are a little bit different. And look, I'm the first person to say that labels aren't always the bad guy. They're not some big, evil corporation out to screw artists and producers, right? They're a business, and they have to make money. And sometimes it gets a little cutthroat, but they serve their purpose in 2024. No more, no less. And to play devil's advocate with you guys, labels actually lose most of their advance money and never recoup. It's the big artists like Drake, Taylor Swift, Beyonce. Those are the artists that are keeping the lights on in the building. It's a wild business. So if you made it this far in the video, thank you. Be sure to like and subscribe if this video was helpful. Drop a comment for me and let me know your thoughts. Do you think I made the right decision or not? I love hearing from you guys. Much love. Till next time.